hatches, and right in the middle of that there's a window and there's a centerline camera that is aligned with the center of the vehicle and the center of the docking mechanism. So that is what the autonomous docking system is using to line up with sort of a cross-hatch, cross-target on the docking port. Again, the forward docking port on PMA2, or the pressurized mating adapter.
And we are just 5 meters away. Again, we're racing that sunset. This Dragon continues to close, 4 meters to go.
Those shadows of the space station on the vehicle. Yeah, you can actually see the centerline camera pretty clearly there, sort of with the contrast of the sun right now.
3 meters to go.
Behold the meatball man.
2 meters.
Look at all that stuff around the inside.
We are inside the hands-off point, the chop, the crew hands-off point. 1 meter to go.
Oh shit. Hey Adam.
Soft capture complete.
Dragon is soft capture confirmed. Stand by for retraction and docking.
And we just heard it, soft capture. We have docking, that coming at 7:16 a.m. Pacific time, with the station and Dragon flying 262 statute miles right over the border between northern China and Mongolia.
You saw a little bit of motion there of Dragon. That was that relative motion that the soft capture system is damping out. Once that motion is clear, then the soft capture system will be retracted, and Dragon will go for hard capture.
Okay, so the shoot 10 minutes should have passed, I believe.
Again, if
so let's
just now
click
tuning
on
in,
live immediately. So this is
And
what,
that
so this is
hard
the actual
capture is
live
complete.
feed.
So that's confirmation of those 12 latches to create that airtight seal. Now that's complete. The umbilicals from the station side will
So
interface
here's the live.
with the Dragon vehicle umbilicals, and that'll provide power and communication through space station directly to Dragon.
Or
pretty much the whole way up, Dragon's been using a combination of
whatever
batteries and its
breathing
solar
they're gonna go
cells
for.
pointed at the sun to make sure that it has enough electrical power for the journey up.
So yeah, like the docking takes I think 10 minutes, and I haven't actually seen the moment when they docked. So that's my first time seeing it, and I think 5 minutes has passed when I saw the dock. And now we're just waiting for them to just get everything sorted.
we're standing by now for that umbilical to get mated, and that's gonna, again, as Shiv was just saying, start the power and data transfer between Dragon and the space station. They've been transmitting data through RF radio frequency on the way uphill. And during the final approach, this will give a hard mate, basically a wired LAN connection between the Dragon spacecraft and the International Space Station itself, and then also being able to draw power from the station systems using those great big solar arrays that are used to generate all of the electricity for systems on board the station.
People watching right now. I mean, there was more people watching yesterday, but still, being able to retain 1 million people, damn. And it is a separate. This is also a SpaceX channel. NASA, I bet you, has a separate crew watching that. Yeah, right now we're just waiting. We're just waiting for them to have the two, the station and the ship to, I guess, sync. That's a way of saying it.
And the soft capture system has been stowed. We see the umbilical starting to deploy. About 40% of the way so far, going pretty quickly. Should just take a couple more seconds until we're all the way connected. And then we should be getting that docking complete call out from the core here in Mission Control, SpaceX and Hawthorne standing by.
Yeah, we're just in the waiting phase.
Dragon, SpaceX docking sequence is complete.
They did it? Can they open the lock? Can they open it now? See? Let's see the handshake.
Dragon, we copy docking complete. To say that it's been a real honor to be just a small part of this 9-year endeavor since the last time the United States spaceship had docked with the International Space Station. We have to congratulate the men and women of SpaceX at Hawthorne, McGregor, and at Kennedy Space Center. Their incredible efforts over the last several years to make this possible cannot go overstated. I'd also like to thank Kathy Leaders and her team of the Commercial Crew Program of NASA. An outstanding job by
Good
everyone.
job, boys. Woo. Wait, what?
Last, I'd like to thank the men and women of the National Aeronautics and Space Agency. This is an incredible time to be at NASA. 3 new vehicles to be flown, continuing mission in low Earth orbit, and then to the moon and Mars. We thank you again and congratulate you.
Did you guys know that the next manned mission by SpaceX is gonna be this August? That's how fast the reusable rocket is. That's how
Dragon arriving. Crew of Expedition 63 is honored to welcome Dragon and the Commercial Crew Program to welcome aboard the International Space Station. Bob and Doug, glad to have you as part of the crew. Well done. Bravo
Yeah, they're
Zoo.
about to do the hatch opening.
Okay, happy. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Endeavour, this is Houston. Bob and Doug, welcome to the International Space Station after your spectacular rendezvous and docking of the first Crew Dragon vehicle. For the first time since the retirement of the Space Shuttle, you have completed a historic ride to the ISS and have opened up a new chapter in human space exploration. On behalf of the flight control teams here in Houston and in Hawthorne, California, and to our SpaceX colleagues, bravo on a magnificent moment in spaceflight history and on the start of a new journey that has changed the face of space travel in this new era of space transportation. Bob and Doug, good luck, and we look forward to working with you on board.
Dragon, SpaceX, Bob and Doug, we here at SpaceX are honored to have been part of ushering in this new era of human spaceflight. On behalf of the SpaceX and NASA partnership, congratulations on a phenomenal accomplishment and welcome to the International Space Station.
Yeah, and this is a big deal. For those people who don't really, I guess, just know the full.
Well, thank you, Anna. We appreciate all the good words and everyone thanking us, but it truly was a magnificent effort by the entire team, the SpaceX team, the NASA team, and a team across America who was able to pull this off and bring human space flight again to our nation. Thanks for everything. Happy to be aboard.
Yeah, and like I just said, because of the reusable rockets, the next manned mission by SpaceX is gonna literally just be 2 months from now. It's gonna launch 4 astronauts.
Dragon, SpaceX.
That's how fast
with that,
the systems.
Ground will be enabling hardline power and comm connection shortly. You are go to doff your suits per procedure 4.012. We will be configuring your video to go external shortly, and we have one request for Bob's suit doffing when you're ready to copy.
We copy all. Go ahead for Bob's suit.
During your approach suit leak check, we noticed Bob's suit pass with a lower PSID than his previous vehicle and O&C checks. We still had plenty of margin to support you in a depress, but in order to rule out potential hardware issues, when Bob is doffing, after he opens his structural zipper, check all 3 bladder zipper heads to see if any are partially closed. It is possible that if the head is backed off slightly, that the white tooth is partially visible or a small gap can be seen between the end of the zipper head and the gasket end. Please report observations.
Okay, they need to get that fixed before.
Copy. Bob will take a close look at his zippers when he docks, and he'll get docking first, so we'll let you know as soon as we see something or if we see something.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, get that sorted. We don't want any problems. We don't want any problems.
Wow. So now Dragon has completed its docking sequence.
Okay.
There's a number of checks. That was an absolutely historic moment. And in spite of that, the ground team's getting right back to business, talking about the suit performance.
Just let us know when the interior cameras are secure.
On Dragon to
Gotta
ground,
turn the cameras off first before we can get them out of their suits.
Absolutely.
I don't even
So
move to the
spacecraft is now docked. They've got several tasks that they're going to need to be able to do. While we're waiting for those tasks to happen, we're actually going to take a short break. But if in case you just missed it, the Dragon spacecraft is now docked to the International Space Station, docked at 7:16 a.m. local time.
Yep.
Bob and Doug are at the space station.
Yeah, they're there. It was just under a 19-hour journey from their launch to their docking, so pretty much right on what we were expecting. They got there a little bit early today, which was nice, as they were able to get through all those burns. But they're docked. It's going to be a little while. They have to do that vestibule pressurization, and then they'll have to do some leak checks.
Dragon on Dragon to ground for Bob. I've got both structural zippers on my gloves lowered, and I do see white teeth visible on both sides. It looks like a full white tooth. I'll give you an update once I get to the leg zipper.
Copy. White teeth on both sides, and we'll await your next status.
Yeah, they're very.
So the crew right now just going through some checks of their gloves. They're about to get out of their suits. That'll be the first step for the crew on board Dragon. For the crew on board station, Chris Cassidy is going to start getting that vestibule pressurized, and then they're going to do leak checks. So they're going to be actually taking atmosphere from station, putting it into that vestibule, and then once we get all the leak checks done, things are thermally stabilized, it'll be time for hatch opening. We'll be able to see Bob and Doug get into the space station for the first time from on board the Dragon spacecraft. And again, for Doug Hurley, this is the exact port he was at almost 9 years ago when he was on the very last space shuttle mission, and now he's commanding the first commercial vehicle to dock with the International Space Station. I think that's going to do it for us in Hawthorne. We're going to give you into the very capable hands of Gary Jordan to take you through the rest of the hatch opening. We're going to be watching from here and following along. We can't wait to see these crew members on board the International Space Station. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. We hope you enjoyed the launch. We hope you enjoyed the ride uphill. We really hope you were with us every single moment from suit up until now, so you've been up for over 24 hours. But it's been an incredible experience for us to see these guys get on board the International Space Station, to watch Dragon go through the paces, to be lofted into orbit on Falcon 9. Something we've been waiting for years, seeing it come to fruition. I'm still grappling with.
Dragon, SpaceX on Dragon
really
to ground.
Incredible.
Video is
and
no
Shiv,
interior.
it was an honor doing this with you today.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. They
Dragon copies. Thanks, Anna.
can't step on the crew. That's the one rule. There are some really great words there from all the flight control teams about how this was a joint partnership between NASA and SpaceX. I think everyone is over the moon here at SpaceX for this. Bob and Doug have got to be excited, and now back to business to get the vestibule ready to go, and then get them on board the station. So again, thank you for following us. Please continue to watch as Gary takes over for the hatch opening portion. And keep following our social media for more updates on what's happening with Hatch Open.
Over to you, Gary.
Okay, Gary, sure. I'm ready to delete that latch. I mean, most likely.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Dan. What an incredible flight for Bob and Doug, lifting off just yesterday and now in space, attached to the International Space Station. Some kind words all over after docking at 9:16 a.m. Central, and a hard mate just 11 minutes later. We're still not done here. We're going to take you through the pressurization sequence and eventually hatch opening
SpaceX
of the
Dragon
International
on
Space Station.
I didn't know they had a
Cabin mic
there.
check
I mean,
com.
they have glass between
And
them.
I hear you loud and clear on Dragon to Ground. How me?
Loud and clear.
Excellent.
Oh, I can already see the camera. It's right up there. Where's my emotion?
Good comm checks. We're still...
Not that one. Which one is it? Is this one? Ah, I forgot. It's been a while.
And SpaceX Dragon with an update from Bob. It looks like a white tooth on the leg zipper as well. We'll take a close look if we can see anything else that might have resulted in that lower leak check pressure.
Oh, I can already.
Copy. Really appreciate the report. Thank you.
The astronauts in the space station.
Teams behind me will be configuring the Dragon and the International Space Station to welcome Bob and Doug aboard. First, of course, the International Space Station attitude control moment gyros, really holding the Dragon in place through the hard capture sequence. We'll start enabling those thrusters and pressurizing the vestibule. It'll take about an hour until we're able to get the hatch open.
Oh,
Teams here in Mission Control Houston, Orbit 2, led by Flight Director Zeb Scoville, will be taking us through that process.
Oh, oops. I didn't realize. Oh no, I'm gonna have to live stream for an hour. I was expecting it to be so quick though.
Aboard the International Space Station, Commander Chris Cassidy standing by in Node 2. Right in front of that is the pressurized mating adapter. He recently opened up the hatch to introduce some of the station air and mix it, get a nice mix in there, avoiding some CO2 pockets. That hatch you see just beyond Chris Cassidy there is normally closed. He was able to open it a little bit earlier today, mix some of that cabin air, and get rid of those CO2 pockets, make sure it's all clean and ready for Bob and Doug. He closed it shortly after just to make sure no FOD or foreign objects, anything were to float in there that would inhibit any hatch opening process today. One of the next milestones for Chris Cassidy will be to open up that hatch. He's got some cameras you see placed within that node. We'll get some good views of the hatch opening and welcoming Bob and Doug here in just about an hour.
Okay, so what do I do afterwards? What I'm gonna do during that? Okay, I'm gonna turn on my alarm right now. Maybe 40 minutes from now. So let's see. My alarm is gonna be. Let's try 50 minutes from now, actually. Because again, I don't exactly know when it's gonna be fast or slow. I'm gonna 55 minutes. Okay. There you go. The alarm clock is already ready. So let's see. Either be streaming now, or I could just cut at the moment when they open the hatch. So I'll cut the streams. I mean, so that's what I've been doing. I had the launch stream, I have the docking stream, and the next one's going to be the
today,
opening the hatch.
31st, 2020. Just on the other side of that hatch, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley have successfully arrived at the International Space Station. Still a couple of milestones to get through. Before we can open up that hatch, it's going to take some time. First, pressurizing the vestibule in between the station and Dragon. We'll bring that up to pressure. It's going to take some time for that pressure to stabilize. Of course, the temperature within that vestibule causes a little bit of swing, so we'll just wait for that to pressurize or to stabilize before opening up that hatch. Here at Mission Control Houston, Flight Director Zeb Scoville welcoming the Director of the NASA Johnson Space Center, Mark Geyer.
55 minutes.
We'll have a few other VIPs here in the room to welcome Bob and Doug once they get through that hatch.
What happened? Hello? Oh, I don't see anything. What's happening? It's not 50 minutes. What's happening? Why is it blue screen?
Now again, this repressurization and hatch opening process is going to take some time. You see now we're going to have some intermittent losses with the communication from the International Space Station. You're seeing now the International Space Station Flight Control Room, led by Flight Director Zeb Scoville. Just a handover of some of those audio and visual communications. We'll be regaining those shortly. Might lose them intermittently throughout the repressurization process, but the teams here will be monitoring all of the procedures. Again, pressurizing that vestibule and eventually getting to that hatch opening.
Okay, so I guess they're just handing over. Oh yeah, so yeah, it looks okay. It looks okay. I thought something bad. Okay, so I'm gonna be eating. So for now, I'm gonna cut the stream. We're gonna go skip to the moment when.
From right to left there, seated, you see Flight Director Zeb Scoville. It was he who was leading the teams for both the launch of Bob and Doug over at the Cape. He was leading the teams here in Mission Control Houston.
Right,
you just saw the Johnson Space Center Director Mark Geyer walk off to the side. Seated next to Zeb Scoville, Joshua Kutrick. He is one of the members of the most recent class of astronauts, the class of 2017. Canadian Space Agency astronaut. Went through candidate training and officially became an astronaut just recently.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna skip the stream. So see you guys later, and yeah, let's go watch the opening of the hatch together. 40 or an hour from now. So yeah, see you later, guys.
Again, a few milestones to get through to that hatch opening. First, the International Space Station attitude control has been successfully switched from control moment gyro only control, enabling some of the thrusters on the International Space Station. We also just received word that Dragon is successfully receiving power.
Ground ISS power connection has been established.
And there you have it. Dragon is successfully receiving power from the International Space Station.
And Dragon copies on Dragon to ground that power has been established. Just let us know when we should make a hardline comm check.
We will, Co. Thank you.